Hey, Archon here. I've been making some changes to Stream Defense recently, as a lot of you have seen, and I just wanted to make a quick video going over some of the changes that have already been made, why I'm making these changes, and some of the changes yet to come. Also, as you might have noticed, my Twitch channel got suspended today. I won't talk too much about that, but my advice to anyone watching is if you have a 13-year-old son, don't leave him alone with your streaming computer, or you might come back to a 7-day suspension. So I hope that Twitch is understanding about that, and that we're just back up and running 7 days from now. But right now, the channel is down, and I'm not going to be streaming at all. I don't want it to be seen as ban evasion, so unfortunately, the game's just not up for the next 7 days. But I'll still be working on it, so 7 days from now, which would be October 18th, hopefully the game's back up and it's even better than you remember it. And that's what I'm hoping for all of these updates. And so just to give you an overview, the main thing I'm trying to do right now, there's a lot of little ways that I want to improve the game, but the big one is that I want to make it more accessible for streamers. When I first started making Stream Defense, I actually wasn't thinking about streamers at all. The game was made for streamers, but in my mind, the Stream Defense is what they would put on when they stopped streaming. That was the whole idea, was that streamers would do their normal stream and then they're like, okay, I'm off for the day. Here's a tower defense game that all the viewers can play amongst themselves until I get back. The streamer would come back, take down Stream Defense, and play whatever they're going to play. And I was just kind of naive not to realize that streamers, of course, would want to play with their viewers. And that's exactly what happened when I released it to a small group of streamers online. Is they only wanted to play with their viewers. And I said, like, hey, you could just let it run when you're not streaming, and your viewers could keep playing. And they're like, why would I do that? So that got me rethinking that, of course, streamers want to play with their viewers. And so it's actually in the perfect situation to do that, because the hard part's already done. The hard part is making the game completely playable, the menu and everything by the viewers, and it's already there. And there's so many challenges that come with that. None of those challenges exist when I'm creating a single player version that the streamer can just play on their own. For example, streamer doesn't have to go into chat and type vote 1. They can just click adventure, and then that loads this, right? And there's so many little things like that, that the interface, I can't have a personal interface for every viewer, but I can for the streamer. So now so many options open up amongst like spell books and talent trees and inventory and all these ideas that I'm really excited about. But the one I'm most excited about is that the game has always been a little unintuitive, if that's a word. It's hard for viewers, especially new ones, to understand how to play the game and what the best strategies are until they put a lot of time into it. And that's just because it's so hard to create a tutorial system and tooltips and all the things that would normally teach players how to play the game, when each viewer is just hopping in the middle of the game, usually with some other advanced players, and they're just hoping the other players can teach them the game, and sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But everything changes when the streamer's playing the game, because presumably most viewers will be introduced to the game by the streamer. So my thinking is, if I can just make a tutorial system and an intuitive game that makes it easy for the streamer to learn, then they can teach the viewers just by the viewers watching them play, and maybe the streamer gives them some hints and helps them out, and that could be its own experience of the viewer and streamer helping each other. And that's really, if there's one feeling I'm going for with Stream Defense right now, it's the viewer being able to feel like they're helping the streamer beat a game. And so the idea with all these updates is making this game feel as good as any single player game would feel for a streamer, with the added bonus that all your viewers get to join in on the game. They don't have to go create an account and ask you to invite them to a party and hope they get in. No, they can just type !Archer into Twitch chat, and they're playing with their favorite streamer, and they're helping. And that's part of the idea, is that it should be easier with more people. Not a lot easier, but easier enough that the streamer's not like asking people not to join, but is actually excited when their viewers join. And then when the streamer gets off, maybe they let the game keep running, and their viewers can just keep grinding away levels, and when the streamer comes back, they say, hey, we got you some more progress, and we're stronger now, and let's try it again. And I think there's a lot of potential I'm really excited about right now. I'm not sure what will happen to it ultimately. Maybe I'll release it on Steam, but I really feel like adding the streamer element is going to make this game take it to a higher level. Like, there's so many more options become available, and hopefully that problem with the game being just unintuitive is not completely solved, but largely solved. So I just want to go through some of the changes that I've made so far and then give you some ideas about what's to come. So one thing right now, you can see this is in streamer mode, and you can see that because there's no timer here. Now, eventually I'll have a toggle somewhere where you can switch between streamer run mode and viewer run mode. Now, in both modes, the streamer and the viewer can play, but the difference is, are the viewers controlling the cadence of the game? Like, do they start the game, or is the streamer clicking things? So either way, the viewer can vote, the streamer can see the votes, and then they can say, okay, most people want this, I'll go with that, or you know what, I think you guys are wrong, I'm going with this one. I think that would make it kind of fun. And then so that's a toggle. So when the streamer's playing, they'll have it on streamer mode, and then when they're taking a break, they can put it on viewer mode, and they both work. Now, eventually, I want to add a campaign. I think that's going to be key to teaching the streamer how to play, and that's probably within the next few weeks. Definitely within the month, there should be a campaign here, and then I want to start releasing that to a small number of people to start testing it. So if you're interested, let me know either on Discord, Archon the Wizard Discord, linked to from my channel that you can't get to right now, but you should be able to by October 18th if all goes well. Or you can email me at infernoarchon@gmail.com. Let me know if you're interested in testing the game once that's ready. But the campaign is coming. It's not here yet. Right now, we're just focused on adventure right now. So if I pick a perk, of course, it's going to show me the maps. And this is a big difference already. It used to be set maps for each tier. Now, randomly generated maps and randomly generated altars. Now, this altar just happens to be the altar that's normally on Double Trouble, but that's completely random. The Wisdom altar, the Rebirth altar, they can show up on pretty much any map now. There are some altars that are just stuck to the map, like the Challenge altar in Dune Gauntlet. It has its own path on the map. I can't just move that to another map. So that one's always there. And that one actually has some changes now. It's not quite balanced, but I think that one's going to be really fun. A lot more potential to just like blow up and become a crazy high level if you get some nice RNG. So I think once that's balanced, it's going to be more fun than the old version. But what I'm really trying to do here is just make every adventure run feel more different than it used to. And this is what I think roguelikes do really well, is they just take, a bunch of different elements and mash them up randomly. So every run feels different. Every run has its potential to be that awesome run. So that's what I'm hoping for. So down the line, you can expect more maps, more altars, and I want to redo the rewards so that they're less linear as well. But content is going to come after quality. First, get everything polished, nice, neat, shippable. Then I'll focus on content. But hopefully, adventure already feels a little more adventurous. You also notice from that previous screen, there's no more faction recruits. You're not unlocking factions with each tier. I'm kind of moving away from some of this, I don't know, some of these elements I added that just made the game more complex and didn't seem to add much to it. For example, being locked in the streamer, you choose a faction, and this determines the spells you can cast and your bonuses and the familiar and the guardian, and all this is tied to one faction. That seems kind of silly. So I want to instead give the streamer a bunch of individual options. What familiar do you want? What guardian bonus do you want? And be able to let them choose that all individually. And so a lot of menus coming for the streamer. Like I said, maybe talent trees down the road, but in the meantime, just a lot of options. And spells. If you don't know yet, I've gotten rid of the High Priest, but I'm jumping the boat here. Let me just walk through this as we go. So what I was saying about the factions is now each map just has a random faction. You don't unlock them. That just determines which familiar you get and which guardian is on the map and which relics drop. Those are all based on that one faction. And that's just to make each map feel a little bit different. So you don't start with 0 factions and end up with 4. I'm open to changing that. Maybe we do want more than one. Sorry, I said faction, I meant familiar. Maybe we do want more than one familiar out at a time. However, I do think it's nice to have a limited number of familiars and have them random, so that the tower buff is changing enough that the players have to think like, do I want to go to my favorite tower, or do I want to go to the one with the familiar buff? So that's totally up in the air. It's one of the many things that I'm just waiting for more feedback on. So please, I should have said already, so grateful to the players who have been playing this and giving feedback. It's so helpful, and I'm so lucky as a game dev that I can just look over at my screen and watch people playing my game live. So I thank you so much. Please, if you haven't already hopped on Discord, come on Discord, yell all your complaints at me. I need this. I need some feedback. I need to know what you guys don't like, what's fun, what's not fun. It really drives the decisions in the game. I can't say I'll take all feedback to heart, but if I get enough of it, if all players are feeling bad about a system, I know I need to change that system, and vice versa as well. So let's just jump into a game here. We hit Double Trouble, and that loads up. And right now I'm in debug mode, so you'll see there's no tutorials. And that'll be probably how it is on streamer mode. They'll have played through the campaign before they get to this point, so I don't need to show a bunch of tutorials again. But if you're seeing this for the first time since I made the changes, you notice some UI is different. One thing is this corner's always empty, so the streamer has a place to put their camera. I think that's important. I noticed streamers had no place to put their camera before, but probably the bigger change is these spells down here. I didn't mean to get bigger. That's what's replaced the High Priest. Hopefully nothing important is lost with the removal of the High Priest, because I think these spells are going to be way more fun. And I'm really designing them so that if it's the streamer playing, they get to set up their ideal action bar. So I want to add 20, 30 spells and then more down the road. And then the streamer can kind of pick the 6 that they feel are the most useful. They can kind of... I want to make it a lot of different ways to build your action bar, and I want to make a big difference on the game. But then I'm also having the viewer in mind. I want these to be spells that the viewer can cast, so they're not going to be like targeted where you have to like click on part of the map because the viewer can't really do that. And then they can also set up for autocast. So, and it's kind of like a smart autocast. So if I right click on this training tome, it casts once, but then it won't cast again until the tome goes away, because I don't want the autocast to waste mana. Or this is the new tower ammo. If I right click on that, it'll start casting tower ammo, but it's only going to cast it if a tower needs it. It's going to cast on a random tower. But then it's also going to stop. All autocast spells will stop if it's going to bring mana down below a certain point. Right now that's set to 150. I think I'll make it so that the streamer can change that. But the idea is that there's always a reserve of mana so that the viewers can still cast other spells, but that before you max out on mana, it'll automatically spend it so you don't waste anything. So right now we have Haste, which now has a big cooldown, but it's a good deal for how much mana it costs. Rapid Rune also has a cooldown because that could be kind of abused if you're just putting it on one tower with some overleveled players over and over again. Just a 30-second cooldown right now. Training Tome, increases experience, it's got a freeze. This is armor ammo, which reduces enemies' armor. I want to make it less efficient than using a rogue to reduce armor because I don't want it to replace the rogue, but it's kind of like oh man, I don't have a rogue. Well, here's next best thing. And then this is regular ammo. Now the ammo might be a little weak right now, but it scales based on player level. And if I make it too strong, it's going to get to a point where you can just sit in the barracks and keep leveling and making your ammo stronger, and your ammo can just take care of all the bad guys. So I got to be careful there. So I'll probably make it a little bit stronger. I could make it a lot stronger and give it a cooldown, but I like it being spammable. So that's just some of my thoughts, but I already have like 10 or 15 spells. So you'll be seeing some of those get rotated in, and then a lot more in mind. So I think that's the biggest change I've made so far, and that you'll feel. You also see here, this is the new challenge bar. So it fills up in a circle, and you can see some arrows. Now let's go ahead and join the game. We got the poisoner coming in. So the one thing is the streamer will be able to just click these to join, and then they can select units and move them like that. Down here, they can see some information on the unit. I haven't added much here yet, but there will be more down here. You'll be able to click on other players' units and see information here. So now in the challenge bar, you can see there's arrows going around showing how quickly it's filling up. You got a number there. And then I can move him here. You also might have noticed there's only one wave of enemies. And this, I'm open to feedback. Some players didn't like this. But I found that sometimes it's a little challenge. I gotta get my 8 levels. It's a little hard when there's only a few people playing for there to be 2 or 3 lanes of enemies, especially if you're like a slow attacking class and you just can't hit every enemy. Maybe you're doing plenty of damage, but you can't kill them all because your archer can't hit every single spider. So this is something I'm playing around with, but could totally go back to. So right now it's set that once you hit 8 units in the game, that you could have 2 paths, and once you have 12 units in the game, you have 3 paths. But otherwise, oh, you can right-click this to power lock. So I really want to make it feel like a single-player game for the streamer. So the idea is you really don't have to type anything into chat to play. And I'm also realizing that this map, a lot of you guys have realized this too. Or I don't have a coin, I can't go there. I'm forgetting how to play my own game. This map's over 200 difficulty right now. And that's just something I want to apologize for. That you'll notice is a lot of the game is not tuned. I kind of gave this to you as quickly as I could. It's really useful for me to watch you guys play it, and I can debug and balance a lot quicker. But as a result, there's some imbalance in the game that I'm just going to have to ask you guys to kind of deal with until we find all of those issues. So let me get haste in here and freeze these guys. Maybe I can actually kill a wave. But yeah, the streamer shouldn't have to type commands into chat. They should be able to just click everything. They should be able to click on a unit and see what faction they are and what rank they are and change the targeting settings from a little menu. And I want everything to feel as it would. And you can see I've added tooltips in. Not everything has a tooltip yet, but it will. You'll be able to just mouse over things and see what they do. So essentially everything you would expect in a normal game, the streamer should have. And then the playability of the viewers is really just bonus. Also, you can see here, if it's in streamer mode, the streamer can just choose how many units each viewer gets. I might max it at 4 because I feel like 6 units is just too much. And then you're not really making any choices about which unit you're bringing in, which classes you're bringing in, I should say. If it's 6, you have to bring in 1 of each. And I have reasons for not wanting you to have 2 of the same class. So I might max out at 4. Love some feedback on that. But if it's not in streamer mode, it's in viewer mode, then I've significantly increased how many units each player can have. That's just a test, but right now you can have up to 4 by like wave 2 if there's only a few people playing, and hopefully that feels better. I know a lot of players like to have 3 or 4 units, and so that'll be more often, and we'll just have more units in the game, which makes the game feel more live. I think that's a good change. So also, there's a lot of little changes I'm not going to get around to mentioning, but one is that the Templar, they have a new passive that makes it so that if they have wasted power, in other words, their power bar is full and then they get power, that it's automatically converted into experience. That's what happens for everyone inside the barracks. But if you're outside the barracks, that power is just wasted. Now the Templar will get the same benefit they would get in the barracks. That was a feature that I had for a while for all factions, for all characters. But I noticed that a lot of players would just AFK in towers, and it wasn't making the game better. So now I figure if you want to give up something else, like the extra speed you get or the extra damage you get for that functionality to be able to just camp in towers and not worry about your power, then cool. Go Templar. You can get that. I'd love some feedback, so let me know if that's something you like. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers the changes that have been in so far. At least the big ones. I'm going to continue adding little things, and I haven't been great at taking patch notes because I'm just so excited to get this stuff out. I usually don't want to take the time to write each change down after I make it, but I think it's important to keep you guys updated and in the loop. So I'm going to do the best I can. Let me know how you like this video, if you'd like me to do more of these. I've also thought about doing like a live conversation on Discord where you guys could share feedback and we could kind of think out loud about some changes. That would be really useful to me. So let me know in the comments or on Discord or through my email if that's something you'd be interested in. And I really hope to keep a more open dialogue through the development process. And thank you so much for playing, for watching this video that went way longer than I intended on, and more to come. I'm very excited about the game right now. Expect me to be putting in a lot of hours for the next few weeks, and then I'll probably have to cut back some, but I plan on continuing to work on the game for a long time. I want to finish it. I want to put it on Steam or something and have it go out there and feel really good about it. And I've kind of been dragging my feet on wrapping up some of these loose ends. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Give me all the feedback. Tell me what you hate. Tell me what you like. And that'll help me make good choices to make a good game. All right. Talk soon.